Hello, entrepreneurs. I hope you have been enjoying your summer, and I'm excited to bring back a two-time episode interviewee, Joe Dichiara. You hear his company in the middle of every episode, Bedrock Business Builders. He has a lot of exciting things in the work, and I thought it would be a great idea to bring him back on the show. As you know, if you've been following my journey, I have the Writing with Authors YouTube show. You've seen him on there, so I'll have him back on there again soon. But now his new book, The Secret Sauce to Accounting and U.S. Tax Preparation, is launching this month. So we're going to hear all about that. He has some other things going on in the entrepreneurial world. Joe, it's great to see you again.
Great to be seen and great to connect with you again. Thank you, Vincent.
We're just talking before the show. Football season starting. Unfortunately, he's a Giants fan. I'm rooting for the Jets. Both not looking too great, but we'll see.
Listen, there's always hope. I told you, there's always hope. That's what gets us to the TV, and it's a long season. So,
It is a long season. But Joe, what led you to this new book? Was this something you've been working on for a while?
it's something that wasn't planned. It started out as it is a course that we started doing. We started teaching Philippine accountants how to get into the U.S. market, how to do our style of entrepreneurship, which isn't the same as theirs. We're a little off the charts, a little eccentric. We do things a lot differently from them, like,
Mhm.
having 15 different credit cards, and our tax laws are obviously different. So we started teaching them, and they caught on. They love it. They're great people. And lo and behold, the course was almost, I think, 200 pages, a lot of content, 4 decades of my experience putting together, small business accounting systems. And everyone is different, but there is a foundation, a commonality to all accounting systems. And the result is should always be the same: a simple balance sheet, a simple profit and loss statement, which then goes on a tax return.
This segment is sponsored by Bedrock Business Builders, a small business startup specialist. Start, build, manage.
Now, believe it or not, you could see Apple Computer, Google, you could see their balance sheet on one page. They condense it. So the same way, they have one transaction at a time. They just have billions of them. But that balance sheet, that P&L, is really just a compilation of all of those transactions. Now, their books are a lot more complicated because they're doing business in all different jurisdictions all over the world. They have different entities attached to them. But the end result is still a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement. Very simple. The concept is simple. Now, how we get there is what the book was all about. So it wasn't my idea to do the book. We had a successful course. A lot of people, we have over 100 students already in only a couple of months. The first one we had 60. This one we have, I think, 50. And then we have another course we started doing for specifically just taxes. That's a 5-week course, but people wanted to do a deep dive into the actual software. So that's a separate, but same content, only we do a lot on the different software packages.
Is this
So
strictly in the Philippines, or this is in America too?
no, this is American accounting and tax. So really, it's anybody. It was geared towards foreigners that want to get into the U.S. market. Now, in the U.S., there is a huge, huge shortage of accountants. Okay, and there's a reason for that. Over the last couple of generations, the short answer is computers.
Hmm.
Okay, it disrupted the accounting industry. Programs like QuickBooks, TurboTax put the old accounting uh, relationship, which was really like a triangle. You had the client, you had the bookkeeper, and you had an accountant. and we met, at least, once a quarter, usually once a month. And even if you had what we called a write-up client, which was the smallest businesses, they didn't have a bookkeeper. So usually if you had a sole practitioner, which is, one account, he would go in and actually do the write-up and do a trial balance, and at the end of the day, go through the finances with the business owner. So that has disappeared. There's a key ingredient that's missing. That's one problem. So if you're a small business owner, so there's 28 million sole proprietors in the United States out of 30 million businesses. Think about that. Now, being a sole proprietor is actually the worst way to do business. The government will tell you, oh, it's simple. It's the simplest way to do it. Well, you don't even have a choice, because once you go into business, you're a sole proprietor. And all of a sudden, everybody wants a piece of you. Okay, everybody's got a vested interest in what you're doing. For one, the IRS, the state, the local town, city that you're doing business in,
Yep.
they all want to know what you're doing. And that all gets reported on your tax return. Now, if you're a sole proprietor, it actually gets reported on your personal tax return. So what's happened is there's a shortage of accountants. There's all of these businesses, and COVID actually created more businesses because there's been the great, resignation. So all of these people that you could call it the gig economy, independent contractors, 1099 people, which is tens of millions of them, they're all sole proprietors. So there's a bunch of problems with that. Number one, they get overtaxed because they're paying self-employment tax on their net profit. They don't have a choice. When you're incorporated, you have a choice on how much you pay yourself, how much you incur in Social Security taxes. Sole proprietors get audited a lot. Why? Because they don't get accountants, because number one, there's a shortage. Accountants are, expensive because there's a shortage. Okay. And what happens is they wind up doing it themselves. So I just got a new client, a nurse practitioner, very successful. She did her returns herself from 2016 to 2019.
Mhm.
She got audited for all the years. And once I saw her return, I saw exactly why. Okay, I saw exactly why. So the IRS has a target, a big red target on all the sole proprietors' backs, because they're saying, oh, this is easy pickings. This is like shooting fish in a barrel. We got millions of people that are doing the returns themselves, and they don't know how to keep books and records. They don't keep the right receipts. They make mistakes. They estimate things on their returns, and they can't back everything up. So they get audited all the time. You don't see this in public information.
Yeah.
You only see that by talking to people like me that have handled hundreds of tax audits. In my 40 years, I've seen 3 S Corps audited. All 3 of them had major red flags. One of them was an amended return that swinged their income $200,000. That's a red flag. One changed their accounting method, which you're not supposed to do without verification. Another one had huge net operating losses because they just lost money. And the IRS came in and they said, you keep losing money, what's going on? So all of them were no change. So think about that. Tens of thousands of returns that have gone through my desk, either directly as one of my clients or one of the CPA firms that I work for. Only 3 corporations have gotten audited. You don't see the government or anybody publishing that. So there's this big misconception. So that's what started me on this crusade to start educating sole proprietors. Okay,
Mhm.
you know that we talked about that, and since we've talked, I needed help. Okay, I started with one Philippine employee because guess what? I can't find an American accountant because there's not enough of them.
Mhm.
They're either working full time, getting a great salary, or they have their own business.
Yep.
Believe me, I've tried. Same thing with bookkeepers. There's no real bookkeepers out there. And if you're a bookkeeper, I'm sorry, but real bookkeepers are dinosaurs. People that call themselves bookkeepers now usually have learned bookkeeping through QuickBooks.
Yeah.
QuickBooks is not a bookkeeping program. It's not. They create things like opening balance equity, undeposited funds. Those aren't accounting categories. Those
Mm.
don't go on a tax return. It's a database that they tweaked to produce financial reports. Okay.
And it's not your
So
first time, Joe. I was gonna go ahead.
yeah, no, I'm spouting, information out there, but this is what drives me. This is in my heart because I know this is American, all over. Actually, this isn't just an American problem. It's actually all over the world. And computers are what it's all about.
Yeah.
Computerization. Accountants got scared. They thought the computers were going to take over their business. And then QuickBooks came along and said, "Oh, you could save money by doing your own bookkeeping." Well, if you're an auto mechanic or a cook owning a restaurant, why are you doing the bookkeeping? Okay, I'm an accountant. I'm not going up and out and starting a car repair business or a restaurant. Think about it. Uh, I'm not pulling my own teeth. I could look up on the internet how to do it, but that's what, and it took people decades to realize that, hey, I need an accountant. Well, guess what? Now Intuit said, oh, yeah, we got this whole network of pro advisors. You don't have to do it yourself. It was a big lie. They were great marketers, ingenious. They
Mhm.
still are. They're huge now. Okay. But what that did was, so accountants got scared. Instead of using the software and the computer as a tool, they used it as, oh, this is our accounting system. A QuickBooks is not an accounting system. It's not a book. An accounting system are the processes that a business owner and the accountant and a bookkeeper is someone that enters the data, reconciles, and categorizes.
Mhm.
The accountant and the bookkeeper devise a actual system, the actual processes that they take from the client, how the client does business. So every accounting system is actually different. Okay. You got to know, how is this guy or girl doing business? What accounts are they using? Okay. How do we get the information to make it so we could produce accurate financial reports? This has not changed since they started doing bookkeeping on rocks. Okay, when they were doing it on tablets. Okay, and if you think about it, we should rule the world. Without accountants, guess what happens to the economy? So, a lot rides on good accounting. Okay, that's a fact. If a business owner doesn't have accurate books, they can't possibly run their business right. And so here we are. I finally found the type of people that could help me run my business because I'm a
Amazing.
business, I'm an accountant, right? I'm an entrepreneur just like everyone else. So I said, oh my God, I trained this person and I've trained plenty of people on how to do bookkeeping. I just couldn't, the only one that lasted with me was my mother. Okay. I would teach people bookkeeping, and guess what? They would go out, get their own clients, and they didn't have time for me. It's like, this isn't working. I'm teaching people how to do a bookkeeping business, and they're leaving. So I taught a lot of people, but I was like, the whole idea is to help me scale my business. Now I got people that were appreciative of the knowledge that I was passing on to them. The fact that now they have a full-time job, because there's millions of people in these
Yeah.
countries that are actually looking for intelligent, hardworking people. Some of these people have PhDs, master's degrees, okay? They're very teachable. They show up to work. They're honest. So one accountant, I said, oh, now I have some free time. I can get more clients. Well, then I needed 2 more. We're up to 7 full-time accountants now in less than 2 years.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
But so we were like, okay, we said, we're running out of sources. We need more accountants. And we were going to a couple of online platforms, and that's a crapshoot. You got to go through the resumes. So we had the opportunity to take my original course and turn it into a US based, a US focus. Okay, really didn't have to recreate anything. I just had to update it and include, things like my first chapter, the perfect storm of opportunity. Because, and I'm talking about all the things I just spoke about. So we put it out there. We said, hey, we want to have a course. We're going to have a free workshop to talk about it. That's it. We didn't do any advertising. We posted it in one Facebook group with 1,500 members, all Philippine bookkeeping freelancers. We got 350 people to register in 1 week. Now that's not normal.
It's
Okay.
impressive. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, 100 people showed up to the webinar. That's not normal, because if you ever marketed a workshop, a lot of people sign up, then something comes up, or they say, oh, I'll just watch the recording, because they can't actually be there for the lot. And we were like, we ran out of room. Our Zoom room only accommodated. So my assistant was over here. Okay, we're going 100. She's got to kick out one of my team members. So we got 100. Out of that 100, 60 people signed up for the course.
Amazing.
People
It's a good ratio.
It's off the charts.
Yeah.
So, wow, we hit a nerve here. So it worked. One of my team members said, we have to make this into a book. And here we are. The secret sauce to accounting and US taxes.
I love
And the
it.
truth is, I just had a client call, because we're promoting the book launch. It's going to be September 12th. Okay, it'll be on Kindle for 99 cents. The hard copy is going to be $14.97. Okay. My client called, he said, how do I get the book? And I realized, I said, you know what? This is real. It isn't just for people that want to learn about how to be a freelance. I said, this is it's basic financial information that anybody being in business should have. They might not want to prepare tax returns, but they should know how it's done. One question people never asked me is, how are you putting this information together to do my tax return? They don't ask. And I'm like, that to me, I'd want to know. If I wasn't an accountant, I'd be saying, how are you doing? You telling me I owe $25,000. How did you come up with this number? And we're looking to change all that. We want to disrupt the accounting community, because we want that triangle. We want the client to talk to the bookkeeper and the accountant. That's what we promote in our business. Anyone that's a client knows that we give them quarterly P&Ls. We encourage them to talk to their bookkeeper, their accountant, the person actually doing the work. Me. So I'm like, that's what I was taught 4 decades ago. I never veered from that formula because it works. It works. And accountants now, some of them, I could say they should be embarrassed to say that they're even accountants because they're not doing accounting. I see it. I'm getting the garbage from clients that are coming to me and say, please help me. I just got the one that was audited for 3 years. She said, shouldn't I be a corporation? And our accountant said, oh, that'll just make things more complicated. And then he handed her a bill for $75,000
Oh my
for,
God.
oh, you owe 75. By the way, you owe the IRS 75,000. And then come to find out, he never advised her. He didn't even do the bookkeeping. He asked her for a spreadsheet of all her expenses.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's not just one, two, it's all over the country. I get clients from all over the country, and I'm like, this is the new way of accounting. That's not right. They're not helping people. They're not. So we were called the trusted advisors when I became an accountant. You don't hear that anymore.
No.
No. So that's my story, Vincent. I'm sticking with it. It won't change. We are changing lives. We're changing lives in foreign countries by teaching them, empowering them, and empowering small businesses because they could tell you, listen, I was all confused. I was all over the place. I had no idea until I went to Bedrock. And Bedrock is not just me. We have a team of people. Okay. And that's a business. I owned a very good job before. It was me and my mom. My mom did all the grunt work. I took all the credit, but it worked. But the truth is that formula, you're limited.
Yeah.
Which is fine for some people, but I wanted more. Okay. And that's where we are today. We're just starting out. So I really, really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to put it out there.
Of course, you're a great guy. Everyone listening on out there, do your cold networking. How'd me and Joe meet? Through cold networking. He's been on all my shows. We have a great relationship, both New York guys, of course. And he's always inspiring me to do more. He's always looking for the next chapter. He's about to share his website and where you can find all his books, as well as all these courses he's talking about. He's got a lot of books, not just on this topic. He's got different accounting principles. S-Corp book I have. I've got the Money Myth book. He's got a lot of them. Joe, where can everybody find out about everything, Joe?
It's very simple. Just go to bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. Okay. And now, if you're an accountant or a tax preparer and you're looking for the kind of people that we have, you can go to matchaccountingtalent.com because we have an army of qualified, excellent candidates that are ready, willing, and able to do your bookkeeping, your taxes, special projects. So if you're saying, oh my God, I got another tax season, I'm going to get hammered. We have a solution for you. So that's matchaccountingtalent.com.
Everyone, be sure to just scroll down the episode description. I just typed it up. I'm going to have all of his information in there, the 2 websites, his LinkedIn. You've heard his company for probably, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months, and somewhere in the beginning of the show. Sometimes I throw it in the middle. He'll be continued partner. I'm on his show, so be sure to check out his shows from Bedrock Business Builders. You can see my little preview on there as well. To everyone listening on, thanks for tuning in and keeping this show going. I'm sure we'll see Joe for episode number 4, maybe around the new year. Unless he does something else big, I'll have to bring him on sooner. Be sure to check out the show at That Entrepreneur Show and at Vincent A. Lancy on all social media. The YouTube series and YouTube channel is really taking off. Be sure to check that out. Channel name is Vincent A. Lancy, and you'll see Joe's episode in this episode description as well. See you soon, and next Friday for a new show. Joe, thanks so much for coming back.
Thank you. God bless.